Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again, hour number 2. Brewers and Pirates still doing battle at American Family Field. Brewers up 4-1. Jacob Misiorowski, 5 scoreless innings again. Again, he did it. Skenes gave up 4 in 4, I believe it was, right? I mean, that is crazy. First outing, 5 scoreless. Second outing, and no hit. Second outing, he had 6 no-hit innings into the 7th. Before he eventually gave up a 2-run homer. And then today, 5 no-hit innings. Now, to clarify, if you left the game already and you're like, man, why did they pull him? He was doing fine. He had a shutout going. He was at 70-some pitches. They had a limit on how many pitches he was going to throw. They said it on the FanDuel Sports Network Wisconsin broadcast earlier today. Because he had never pitched off 4 days rest, they limited him to 80 pitches and no more than that. So instead of sending him back out there for the 6th, only having a handful of pitches left to throw before they would have to go pull him, they just ended his day at that moment in time. So that is why he came out so early. Because again, as Rock said, dude, you got to treat this kid with kid gloves at this point, right? You got to take care of him, take care of his arm, and make sure he's good. You don't want to have this kid being lost for a year. Now, if we're being honest about it, what are the odds of him having Tommy John at some point in his career? Probably pretty high. That it's going to happen at some point, because I don't know if we have anybody that we can point to that is as big as he is, that throws as hard as he does, that hasn't had some type of major injury along the way in their career. Hopefully he doesn't have it. Hopefully, he bucks the odds and nothing happens while he's in Milwaukee. So last night, there was an incident in the White Sox game. Your town. Your Chicago people over there. Not your fans.
Yeah, the bad fans.
White Sox fans. Arizona D-backs Ketel Marte was apparently up to bat, and apparently some fan started in on him about his mother who died in a car accident in 2007. An accident that occurred not long after Marte had talked to her on the phone. Torey Lovullo, who, if you've ever heard interviews with him or whatever else, it's really hard not to like Torey Lovullo. It just really is. Like, I've heard interviews with him on MLB radio. I like him a lot. But Marte broke down in tears on the field after a fan yelled derogatory comments about his deceased mother during the game at Rate Field. Lovullo put his arm around Marte near the mound during a pitching change in the bottom of the 7th inning after he had batted in the top. Marte wiped tears from his eyes repeatedly during the half inning. Geraldo Perdomo went off after the game, saying that baseball's got to do more to police the behavior of their fans. Marte refused to talk to the media about it and didn't want to get into it. Perdomo, let's see here. Lovullo said he heard what the fan said. He did not want to repeat it and looked directly at Marte. Quote, I looked right at him when I heard. I looked right at him and he looked at the person as well. He put his head down and I could tell it had an immediate impact on him for sure. Said Perdomo, everybody knows Ketel lost his mom in 2017. She was the world to him. Lovullo said, I just reacted as a dad would when I went out to change pictures. I could see he was sobbing. It hurt. I told him I love you and I'm with you and we're all together and you're not alone. No matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy is an idiot. It shouldn't have an impact on you. I have no idea what the guy said. My question is this. Where's the line? What's the line between what you can yell at a player on a basketball court, what you can yell at a player on a sports field, on a hockey rink, on a tennis court, on a volleyball court? Where's the line? What's the line? What's okay to yell at these people, men or women, soccer field? What's okay to yell and what's not okay to yell at some point? Now, I will say, there is zero chance I would ever yell anything about somebody's deceased parent ever, 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 ever. I would never even think about yelling anything about somebody's parent that passed away. Like, that seems beyond over the top. So that is ridiculous, clearly. But where's the line? Is the line you can yell stats at them about how bad they are? You could yell things that happened to them in a baseball game where they choked away a World Series or they blew a game the night before with an error. Is that all acceptable things to yell at a player? Or should you not be allowed to yell anything? Only you're allowed to go boo. That's it. You can't do anything else. Can't say anything else. You just got to sit there, boo. Otherwise, you can't say anything else. How personal can you get? I don't know. What is the line between fan and players as far as you're concerned about what should be okay to be yelled at opposing players at a field? Nicolay Law Fan Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Charlie Usen, what say you?
I think there's two sides to this, and I don't think it's really black and white. This person can't say anything versus they should be allowed to say whatever they want. I think, first of all, this fan, first things first, is in the wrong.
He's an idiot, like Torey Lovello said, yes.
What he yelled is completely disrespectful to anybody. You should not be saying anything in that situation. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he did know Ketel Marte's mother has passed away, and that was something that he was trying to get under his skin with. You are not that important to the team, to the game, to the sport at all.
So let me ask you a question. Lovello says that he heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So should he have come out of the dugout and say, get him out of here? That's ridiculous. Or was he right in just sitting there and seeing what Marte did? And if Marte reacted, clearly Marte put his head down like that hurt, like that was whatever. That was a shot to the heart. Should he have intervened at that point and got him kicked out before the bat continued? I don't think anybody asked him that, but I think that was a fair question.
Maybe, and I think Tommy Wirtz before the show put it very the right way, is the player draws the line, if we're being honest. And I think that at the same time that the fan obviously is in the wrong, shouldn't have said what he said. If Ketel Marte doesn't respond in this situation, then it's all kind of over with. And I think if we compare it to Matt LaFleur and the Lions fan earlier in the season when the Packers were in Detroit.
That dude was on the field.
He was on the field in Matt LaFleur's face saying disrespectful things.
That's even worse.
Yeah, I don't know if what he said was as bad as what this fan said in this game, and I think that changes things a little bit. If he's just talking about the football game, then that's a little bit different.
He's supposed to be holding the damn American flag.
Exactly. Yes. He's still not supposed to be doing what he's doing. I think if Matt LaFleur doesn't respond in that moment, that fan doesn't get kicked out of Ford Field. That fan probably gives up after a while and moves on to the next person to start yelling stuff at him. It's the same situation. So the person that is in the higher spot of power in those moments, the player, the coach, draws the line. And if I'm Torey Lovello and I see Ketel Marte on the field, and if he's not reacting, I'm not going to bring up any more drama in this situation. The moment he starts reacting, though, I have to go out there and do something as his manager and as the person, the higher power above him.
Dude, he was still crying in the next half inning. It wasn't like he got out or was on base crying right after it happened, or he was in the dugout. It had to have been several minutes later, Charlie, and he was out there sobbing at that point, still having an issue. So how long of a ban does this guy get?
I don't know. I don't know if his reaction like that determines the length of the ban for this person.
I'll tell you what I think. When you have something that's borderline dirty or questionable that happens in a sporting event, if that player goes down, but he gets up and continues to play, and then he goes to the league office, I don't think the league office is as hard on the player that did it versus if that player is out the rest of the year with some horrible injury, then the penalty becomes that much worse. So if you do the same thing with how you're going to judge what you're going to do to the fan, the fact that a grown man was sobbing in the middle of a baseball field, to me, says that's beyond the line. You're done. Like, you're no more. You're not allowed any more White Sox games going forward or whatever. And maybe you don't do just White Sox games. Maybe you just say, in general, you're not allowed in Major League Baseball games for the next 10 years or whatever the case may be.
I think that's the big difference, is that I don't know if they can truly control these people, these fans, to that length unless they ban them from all of the MLB, because these people aren't employees of the MLB. When you're a player on the field, they're able to really kind of dig into that situation a lot more because you're an employee of the league at that point.
Sure.
And they can reprimand you.
Well, wasn't that Lions fan banned going forward?
He was, but I'm pretty sure that was by the Lions, not by the league. That's the difference. So the White Sox can say something and can ban him from the stadium, but I think the MLB, all they can do is just ban him from the entire MLB, which I don't think they really want to do in this situation, because then you're going to get people saying that, okay, it wasn't that big of a deal that he doesn't need to get banned from all 30 stadiums across the league, but that's really all the MLB can do because he's not a part of this or they're not a part of this situation to that degree.
I've always wondered, Charlie, using how they control that. No elderly usher is going to have any idea that dude in Detroit is walking through the Lambeau gates. It's not going to recognize dude and be like, oh, you're banned. Sorry, we can't let you in. It's just not going to happen. I don't think a majority of fans at Raid Field out in Chicago would be able to recognize the guy, because I haven't even seen a picture of the person, would recognize the guy if he got banned from White Sox game going forward. I mean, I guess you could show everybody a picture of don't let this guy in. But other than that, because if Major League Baseball said we're banning him from all games, there's no way that you can control it, I don't think. You could have facial recognition to a certain degree, but even then, that's going to be hard to pinpoint somebody and kick him out.
Well, and that's not even, you can't put that in every stadium right now. The Brewers just got that for their tickets, and it's not even really true facial recognition. It's more so they can detect if your phone has the ticket or not on it, so you don't have to go through, and they're still working out the kinks with that. So the fact that you would need to get facial recognition, I mean, when I used to go to Brewers games as a kid, Kenny the usher, he wasn't stopping anybody, man. He was the nicest man down there, but I think I probably could have snuck by him a few times if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
These guys aren't paying that much attention to those types of things, and you can't expect them to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Well, back in the day, well, I mean, not when you were a kid, but back when I was growing up, you could get into County Stadium and move sections, full sections. American Family Field, year 2, you had a section to yourself. Pick any seat you want in the section. It's all yours, buddy, because there's maybe 1,000 or 2,000 fans at some of these games. It was so empty. It was brutal. It was their 100-loss season. It was horrible. I mean, 15-win Bucks season. Same thing. You can sit wherever you want. I'm not going to kick you out. And again, I remember doing post-game shows after Bucks games that year going, why don't you just close off the upper deck? Just close off the upper deck, let everybody sit down below, or after the first half of the game, move everybody down for the third and fourth quarter. When you're winning 15 games, I don't think it's going to matter much, but at least those people will have a better experience of going to the games kind of going forward. But either way, so to me, I agree with you and what Tommy said. It's kind of where the player thinks it is, but I do think you can make it black and white. So where you can just be like, if you're an usher and you hear them getting personal with a player, talking about a player's family, a girlfriend, a wife, a mom, a dad, kids, whatever, kick them out. You don't have to come ask for permission. Boot them. If they're talking about a player being horrible on the field and giving out stats or talking about him choking away a playoff game or the last game or World Series game, but it's all on the field stuff, I don't care. Talk to your blue in the face. Could care less. That I don't have a problem with. But you just can't be talking about people's families, and especially not deceased parents. That is absolutely ridiculous at this point. Pirates just scored another one off Uribe. In fairness, that guy never should have been on base. Isaac Collins, I don't even know. I mean, I thought it was going to hit his mitt, and it barely touched his mitt. It should have been an easy out, and he just missed it. Errors happen, and he had a horrible one that allowed that runner on. Jared Canning is up in the pen. I have no faith in Jared Canning lately when he comes in. I just feel like every time he comes in lately, he's given up runs. So I'd rather Uribe work his way out of this here in the top of the 8th. The problem is it's Gonzalez, who's been a terror for the Brewers in this series with the runner on. So he's got the ability to hit a home run here, and it's a tie game after 8, and there goes Misiorowski's win. So please don't let that happen. Gonzalez so far against Misiorowski, strikeout, ground and double play, and a pop out. Oh no. The pop-out had to be against somebody else, maybe, because he only had 2 at-bats against Misiorowski. But either way, 0 for 3 for Nick Gonzalez, up to bat now. Coming up next, we will talk with Gery Woelfel from WoelfelsPressBox.com. The NBA draft coming up tonight and tomorrow night. Yes, it is 2 nights. I know, really stupid, really ridiculous. But either way, we will talk to him. Bucks are going to have their pick tomorrow night. So tomorrow, we'll get into it, about who's left, who might be there at 47, all that stuff. We'll do that tomorrow on the show. So he'll join us coming up straight ahead. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for your fan weather forecast brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 75 degrees and cloudy right now. And the chance of rain in the last hour has now disappeared and gone. So now it looks like just cloudy skies tonight with a low of 65. All right, welcome in. It is Steve Sparky Fifer along with our guy Charlie using other side of the glass. You love Taki Fuego chips? Listen up, because you've never had them like this. Wendy's new Taki Fuego meals are here. This Sammy has the Taki Fuego chip intensity you love piled up on one of our fan favorite spicy chicken sandwiches with Taki Fuego chips, chili lime sauce, and creamy corn spread. The small Fuego fries get tossed in an intense chili lime seasoning. It's almost like this meal couldn't take any more time. Taki Fuego chip intensity. That's where the extra 1 ounce bag of Taki Fuego chips on the side comes in. Well, while supplies last. You can grab this Taki Fuego meal at midnight or later. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. And I have not tried that yet. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. The last time I was at Wendy's, I had the spicy chicken sandwich, which I believe was over the weekend because I'm there 2-3 times a week. And that sandwich, for me personally, is really spicy. for my palate, right? It's really spicy, but I love it, and I like to get it all the time. That and the double stack, those are my two sandwiches. But you take the stocky stuff and then more spicy stuff on top of that. Charlie, I think I'm going to start sweating. Like, do you ever sweat when you eat something really spicy?
That's how you know it's good, Sparky. That's the, denier, how you show, the identifier.
The identifier.
Yeah.
So if you start perspirating on your forehead, then you're like, oh, this is good. I'm in.
Exactly. You get a little bit of the sweet spice with it, too, so that's not all spicy at first. You get that oncoming spice. That's what you get with this Taki sandwich. I tried it. Ooh, it's good.
It's good.
Real good.
You've tried it already.
I was so excited when I heard about this one, Sparky. This one got me hyped.
The creamy corn spread.
That was what I was excited about.
Oh, really?
I love elote. Have you ever had elote?
I don't know.
You need to try. You probably wouldn't like elote. It's like corn and mayo with cheese and tahini.
Okay, now hold on. But isn't that Mexican corn in a cup essentially at State Fair?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's my favorite thing to get at the State Fair. That's absolutely my favorite thing to get at State Fair. So that's what it tastes like?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That I would totally be into. But you control how much of that spice you put into your cup at State Fair. So to me, that's the big thing for me is I want to have the control over it. So if the spicy chicken, I know we're talking a lot about food. I'm sorry. I know I feel it's like we're talking like we're Mitch Thunder Nellis right now talking about food. If the spicy chicken sandwich in your mind is a 4 or a 5, because I'm guessing that's what it is for you. What is it after you put the Taki Fuego chips on there and all the other stuff that goes with it? How much does it go up in heat intensity? 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers?
Only like 2 or 3. Like Takis aren't the spiciest. They're like a chili lime, so they're a little bit more mild, I would say.
Right, yes. And you have the chili lime sauce and then the creamy corn spread.
Yeah.
And then the fries. Did you get the Fuego fries?
I did. Those are in like a bag, so you can
that's
shake
an intense chili lime seasoning?
Mm-hmm. So those come in like a special bag for the fries that you have supposed to shake up and then tear the bag open.
Wait a second. How the heck are you making fries in a bag? I don't understand.
I think they put it into the bag after they make the fries. And then they put the seasoning on top, and then you shake it up yourself.
So is it sealed with like a piece of tape or something?
I think so. Mine wasn't really. It was just kind of like wrapped up.
Right.
But I wasn't paying that much attention to the way they sealed
no,
the bag.
I'm gonna have to. No, see, I have really now been intrigued by this conversation that we are having here. And I'm going to have to go try one of these. There's no question. Gery Woelfel, Woelfel's Press Box, is supposed to be joining us here. We are efforting trying to find Mr. Gery Woelfel, who could be on the phone talking to God knows anybody at this point. So we'll have to see if we can run Gery Woelfel down. But we have time. Do you want to do Charlie's Sounds of the Day right here?
I am still working on getting some of the sounds.
So no, he's not ready.
I do not want to do sounds.
The segment starts at 10 minutes. He's not ready for Sounds of the Day. That is all right. The Brewers right now are up 4-2, bottom of the 8th inning as we currently sit. If you're just tuning in, Jacob Misiorowski went 5 innings, struck out 8 guys in the 5 innings. Again, Misiorowski in his first 3 starts has not allowed a run in the first 5 innings of any of the 3 games he has started in to this point. Has Jacob Misiorowski, which is quite impressive. 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Paul Skenes, that was the other highlighted guy that everybody wanted to talk about coming into this. The Brewers got to him. 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, a couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. His ERA now goes up to 2.12 at this point. And the crazy thing about Skenes is this dude had a 1.85 ERA coming into this game with a 4-6 record. With a sub-2 ERA. You want to talk about being on a bad baseball team and suffering because of it. That's what happens. And that's why we talk about this all the time. The idea that there is some luck to where you're drafted, right? Tonight is the NBA draft. Cooper Flagg got really lucky. He's going to go to an organization that literally can talk about competing for a championship in his first season. Outside of Tim Duncan, that does not happen when you go number 1 overall in the draft. Normally, when you go number 1 overall in the draft, you're talking about being bad for a while before you ever even have a conversation about being in a championship. And it's really even more against the odds when you're in Major League Baseball. I mean, Strasburg went 1. Bryce Harper went 1. They eventually got to where they wanted to go, but it took some time Because in baseball, it's even harder because you've got to get through the whole minor league system. You've got to stay healthy. You've got to play well at every level. It's not like basketball or football where you walk onto the field or walk onto the court and are expected to play at the pro level right away. You've got to earn your stripes even after you're drafted to even make it to where you want to go. You're not guaranteed anything when you get drafted. So Skenes, in 1 year gets to the major leagues and looks as good as he is. Misiorowski takes a couple of years to get to the big leagues. They should have been teammates at LSU, by the way. But from that perspective, that's what makes it so crazy. Misiorowski's in a situation where, no, he didn't go 1 overall. Nope, he didn't go in the first round. But here he is on a winning team in a winning organization to where every year, more than likely, based on track record, he is going to be on a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot every year. And Paul Skenes, who got way more money than Misiorowski did when he got drafted, is more than likely stuck in a losing situation for the first, 6-7 years of his career before he has an opportunity to get out. Now, he's going to make a ton of money. So will Misiorowski if he stays healthy. And then he can pick his winning situation to go to. That's the other bad part about baseball. In basketball, you're there for a handful of years and you're gone. You don't have to stay if you don't want. Right? I mean, you're going to have the opportunity to sign for the most money that you want in there. Sure. In football, 5 years, gone. You do not have to stay there. They could try and franchise tag you and all that. But baseball, you're really kind of stuck in a horrible situation longer there than you are everywhere else, Charlie.
It's really kind of unfair. And when you hear a lot of these arbitration cases that go down, just Corbin Burns with the Milwaukee Brewers, you just kind of feel bad for some of these guys because they truly are living the dream. A guy like Corbin Burns went from nothing to something in the matter of 3 to 4 seasons and then didn't get rewarded for it. That's really kind of hard to see when, again, I've talked about these guys are living the dream of a lot of people across this country. And now even when they are living their dream, they still don't get treated right. You hate that.
No doubt. Joining us now, he is Gery Woelfel from Woelfel's Press Box. Follow him on Twitter at Gery Woelfel. Gery, thanks so much for coming on. How are you?
I am doing swell. Always great to see you, Mr. Fifer.
Great to see you as well. Obviously, we follow you on Twitter, and I know you are still a guy connected to everybody around the world of the NBA. I'm pretty sure you were the first one months ago to say that this was going to be probably a pretty crazy trade deadline. We've already seen the Celtics make a couple of moves with Porzingis going in a 3-team deal that it gets him to Atlanta. Drew Holiday, poor Drew, he gets sent to Portland to go be on a horrible basketball team there in Portland at this point. How much more activity do you expect to see here in the next couple of days with the NBA draft, Gery?
Oh, I expect a lot. I was at the pre-draft camp down in Chicago last month, and I talked to a general manager for a Western Conference team, and his team's got 5 or 6 really good young players. I mean, players that everybody would want. And I asked him, I said, are you going to be in the trading market? He goes, absolutely. There are 0 untouchables on our team. And I go, whoa. He goes, that's going to be the case around the league a lot. So not surprised at all. The guy called it then, and, it's now materializing.
What in your mind deems an untouchable? Is that even a thing in the NBA? Luka gets traded.
Exactly.
Luka got traded. Durant's been traded. I mean, I don't feel like anybody is any longer an untouchable. In fact, the Denver executive the other day just talked about Joker possibly being moved, depending on the circumstance in the next couple of years. That seems insane to me, too.
That was a bombshell, wasn't it? I mean,
that's stupidity.
He's every bit to that franchise what Giannis is to Milwaukee,
Yep. And that was Kroenke that said it, too. I mean, they run that franchise.
Well, he said he wanted to be transparent.
Oh, you're too transparent, dude. Keep that to yourself.
Exactly. You can't be much more transparent than that.
No, that is absolute craziness. We talk about the top of this draft. I mean, there's some talk about Atlanta trying to get up to 3. We all know who's going 1 and 2, right? We know Flagg is going 1. We know Harper is going 2 to the Spurs. 3 is where the issue is because Ace Bailey of Rutgers apparently does not want to play for certain franchises in the NBA, one of which is the 76ers at 3. Do you think Philadelphia gets intrigued by enough to move out of 3 to let somebody else come up and take Bailey?
Yeah, I do. takes a lot of courage or balls to tell an NBA team, having the third pick in the draft, nah, I don't want to work out for it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What kind of message is that sending that organization?
But didn't the Bucks have a similar thing? I mean, they weren't 3, they were 6. But Yi Jianlian, he didn't want to work out for the Bucks. Joakim Noah from Florida, he refused to work out for the Bucks back when the Bulls traded him. I mean, we've got some experience as Bucks fans seeing this happen to us.
Yeah, I talked to Noah at the pre-draft camp back in the day down in Florida. I asked him if he had any interest or desire to play for the Bucks. He goes, hell no.
Do you remember that draft combine? I was there with you. That's when the hotel we were staying at, we came back, Charlie, to the hotel. There was helicopters flying overhead, cop cars all over the place. There was a shooting or something, and everything was blocked off. Had to sit and wait for hours in order to get back into the hotel. I took an intern down there with me that year. Oh my God, that was insanity. That's back when they played at the what was it called, the Milk Jug on the Wide World of Sports complex down there in Disney World.
When Utah lost the chance to get Cooper Flagg, in this year's draft, I mean, they had their sights solely set on that guy. I mean, they tanked for basically half the season. It kind of reminded me of the Bucks when Al Horford came out, right? The Bucks
and Durant.
Yeah.
And Odin. That was a draft where it was Odin, Durant, and Horford were the top 3. That was also the draft where it was the first time in NBA history where the 3 worst teams in the NBA did not get any of the first 3 picks. So instead of being 3 and having Horford with Bogut, you end up at 6 and taking Yi Jianlian.
I mean, what a franchise changer, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I feel really badly for Utah because – again, they need a star in the worst way, and by all rights, they should have got that star. But I've been told that the NBA is actually looking into finally revamping the lottery. And
what do you mean? What do you mean revamping? Doing what?
Probably lessen the number of teams that can be in it. The percentages would be changed for the 5th time, but something has to be done. I mean, I don't know about you, Steve, but the day after the draft lottery, if you went on social media, one word kept coming up all the time: rigged, 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 rigged. You know what I'm saying?
In fairness, I didn't hear anybody make that call. I didn't hear anybody in the media call the Mavericks pick. And there's a lot of people in the media that have their conspiracy theories out there one way or the other about the draft lottery. I didn't hear anybody go, you watch Dallas wins this. I didn't hear anybody say it.
Nobody did.
No, I didn't see it coming.
Then you tie it into the Doncic trade, and you got all these conspiracies floating around. But it's just not a good look for the NBA. It gives it a WWE look, and they got to make it more professional.
One last one for you. The Brewers game just ended 4-2. Talking with Gery Woelfel here, WoelfelsPressBox.com. Any activity, do you think, from the Bucks tonight or tomorrow night?
I would say highly doubtful. I talked to a couple people just before we got together here, and there has been no trade engagement from the Bucks at this point. 0.
Yep.
You know what? And the only thing is that Giannis rumor is still floating around, believe it or not.
It's so stupid. It's just dumb. At this point, I would be literally shocked if he doesn't play his whole career here. That's where I'm at on Giannis. And I understand everybody around the NBA is hoping and praying that he gets to a larger market so they don't have to come to Milwaukee anymore. They don't have to talk about Milwaukee anymore, and they can get him to New York or wherever they want to get him to. I'm telling you, man, this dude's loyalty is unmatched at this point, even though he drives me nuts by not just shutting this crap down whenever he has the opportunity and letting it play out. That drives me nuts. But outside of that, I really don't think he's leaving.
You beat me to the punch. I mean, Giannis could have shut this all down.
Yeah.
Right after the season's over and say, you know what? I'm not asking for the trade. I want to stay in Milwaukee. End of story. You know what I mean?
Yep,
so,
that would have been the easiest way to do it. There he is, Gery Woelfel, WoelfelsPressBox.com. Follow him on Twitter at Gery Woelfel. Got to talk about this Brewers-Pirates game now, the win for the Brew Crew. Gery, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Steve. All the best.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Gery Woelfel, WoelfelsPressBox.com. Brewers win 4-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's talk about Jacob Misiorowski, shall we? I think we got to talk about him. Do we talk about him like we talk about Giannis? When do we talk about him like we talk about Giannis? He's had a much better start to his career than Giannis did. We got to talk about Jacob Misiorowski and the Brewers. Coming up next, Nicolay Lawfan, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen producing Other Side of the Glass. Check us out on YouTube now. We are streaming live on YouTube use that at symbol, at The Fan Milwaukee on YouTube. All of our local shows streaming on YouTube. You can go back, watch the shows on YouTube, watch all the interviews. We had Paul Wallersham on earlier in the show, Dean of Students at Greendale Martin Luther and the WBCA Hall of Fame coach, talking about the shot clock and deciding apparently that there's still not going to be a shot clock in Wisconsin. Talking about electronic seating now and the changes made for electronic seating. All kinds of different topics there at 2:40. He just had Gery Woelfel on talking about NBA rumors. Normally we do Charlie's Sounds of the Day here, but let's talk about this Brewers game instead. And we'll move Charlie's Sounds of the Day maybe to a 4:20. We'll get to that. Lots of good stuff today for the Milwaukee Brewers. It was all about Misiorowski versus Paul Skenes, obviously.
Got him! Strikeout number 1 for Misiorowski.
I would say both offenses had better lay off that high fastball today. 101 above the strike zone. There's no chance to be able to barrel that up. To foul it off is quite hard to do as well.
Exactly right. Rock on the call there with Jeff Levering on FanDuel Sports Network. And Misiorowski off and going. That was the first out of 8 strikeouts that he had in the game. First of 8 strikeouts. He gave up no runs in 5 innings. Not a single run. So when you start talking about, what you think of Jacob Misiorowski and Rookie of the Year and, how good is he going to be? I can't imagine anybody is let down by how good Jacob Misiorowski is through 3 games. That game today was sold out because they were playing Paul Skenes. Charlie Usen, do you think we get to the point here where every Misiorowski home start is going to start to be sold out for people to come watch him pitch?
Maybe. I think at the beginning of his career, yes. Pittsburgh isn't really selling out games to watch Paul Skenes right now.
That's a good point.
I think if you look back when Chris Sale was with the White Sox, they weren't really selling out games when Chris Sale was coming up as that phenom for that team. And that's part of the reason they decided to move on from him at that point, too. I mean, I think for a while here, but the shine goes away after a little while. Even if he's still as good as ever, if he's still being phenomenal like this, at the end of the day, we're still a small market team that finds a hard time selling the tickets no matter what.
And the good thing about the Brewers are they've always been top of Major League Baseball in attendance. They've been at the top of baseball in attendance for a number of years. And on those years where they were playing really well, I think they were top 5 maybe in attendance, top 7 in attendance from the years where they were really good. To me, that's what makes this market special. That's what makes living here and growing up here so special. For a majority of my life growing up, nobody went to County Stadium. There wasn't a lot of fans at County Stadium. There were through the Molitor and Yount years and so forth. But once that was done, there was a long stretch of time where County Stadium was vacant, right? You could scalp in for $5 and sit right behind home plate in Diamondback seats with a waiter, waitress, service, the whole deal. Sit right there for $5. That's how bad it was. Then you open up Miller Park, because that's what it was then. And the first year, you drew a lot of fans. And then the second year, you have the worst record ever with over 100 losses, and it's a ghost town in year 2. And it was virtually a ghost town every year after that. It wasn't until the Fielders and the Harts and the Hardys and the Weeks got here that we started to pick up momentum as the team started to win more games. And since that happened, we've been able to keep that attendance the way we have. The owner of this baseball team has said it many times. The payroll on this team is going to be determined by how many people show up at the park on a year-to-year basis more than the revenue coming in locally, because the local revenue numbers aren't that good. They're better than they were from a TV perspective, I guess, is what I've been told. But it's not as good as it was. And there was the limbo of even where they were going to broadcast the games on TV this last offseason because of the Diamond Sports bankruptcy fiasco. And they ended up here on FanDuel for another year. So where they end up next year, who knows? But I think this fan base is one of the best in pro sports. When you start talking about the Brewers, they support this team really, really well, considering the amount of people that live in this market. The scoring for the Brewers started off like this.
Off the end of the bat. That's going to get a run home as Skenes gets the out at first base. Put the ball in play and good things happening.
The benefit of that making contact, right? Good job by Joey Ortiz.
Joey Ortiz. Joey Ortiz last night had 2 home runs in that game. And do you think my phone was blowing up every time he hit a home run?
Yeah, probably.
Who do you think was blowing my phone up every time he hit a home run?
Probably Tommy Wirtz.
You don't say. You think it was Tommy Wirtz, huh?
I think so, yeah.
Go
out on a limb there, yeah.
He loves himself some Joey Ortiz. He's trying to prove everybody wrong that Joey Ortiz can play.
Joey Ortiz is kind of starting to prove us wrong a little bit. 2
He's
home runs
well.
on the end of this hot streak here. I mean, that's pretty nice.
We're at about a week and a half, somewhere in that area now for Ortiz.
I'm starting to get a little excited. I was with you, but this has been 2 games since we last said that.
It is.
And it's been pretty fun in those 2 games still, too.
Yeah, oh no, he was having a game yesterday. It was the Joey Ortiz game yesterday. This dude, you want to speak about on fire? This dude's on fire.
It's a 35-pitch inning for Skenes. And a line drive into left, a base hit. Yelich extends his hitting streak and extends the lead to 4-0.
I tell you, this is a clinic in how you attack a guy like Skenes. Fastball right here. Yelich doesn't try and pull it. He goes to the opposite field.
Christian Yelich has been just truly amazing at coming up with those hits right now and continuing to play at a high level. And again, Misiorowski didn't give up anything on the day. As we take your calls, your texts, all that fun stuff. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. I think Charlie probably tweeted out taking your calls and texts and so forth here on The Fan. And we are here for you as we are after every day game for the Milwaukee Brewers. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. You can also, of course, record a voice message. So like if you're in the parking lot, let's say right now at American Family Field, and you're like, oh, man, I got to say something real quick here before I get in the car and drive home or whatever. You can record it right there on your Odyssey app, AUDACY. Again, AUDACY. 4-2. The Brewers win this one. 4 runs, 6 hits, and air. That was Isaac Collins. It was brutal. Sometimes the air is like, I can kind of see how that happened. That one, he just flat out missed in the outfield. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Only one player with multiple hits in this game, Bryce Terang for the Brewers, had 2 hits. He was 2 for 4 with a run scored. 2 hits for Tommy Pham, one of those an infield single for the Pirates. As far as pitching goes, we talked about Misiorowski, 5 innings, couple of hits, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. His ERA now 1.13. Zasterzini, 1 inning, 1 strikeout, no hits allowed. Anderson gave up a run because of the Isaac Collins error. That's how that guy got on base. 2 strikeouts for him. Uribe, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, a walk, and a strikeout. Trevor McGill did his job, didn't allow a base runner, and had a strikeout in his 1 inning. 3-0 for Jacob Misiorowski right now. Trevor McGill with his 18th save. Abner Uribe with his 21st hold on the season. And this Brewers team now, all of a sudden, they have a day off tomorrow, and then it's the Rockies. Don't look now. They are 1 game away from being 10 over 500 and 9 over 500 right now. And it's funny because literally last week when people were saying, they're 5 over 500, that's who they are. And I said, guys, if they get on a 4 or 5 game winning streak and play 500 ball the rest of the month, you're 10 over. And if in July they do the same thing, you're 15 over. And if you do the same thing in August, you're 20 over. If you do the same thing in September, you're 25 over, and it's an amazing season. And what happened? They started to roll off wins here all of a sudden, right? That's what has to occur. They've won 5 of their, what was it now? Where are we at here? 5 of their last 6, I want to say, is where we are for the Brewers. And what's been happening at the same point? The Cubs. They better figure it out quickly because if they don't, they're not going to have first place by the All-Star break if they don't start to figure this out relatively quickly here in Chicago. What's up with your boy P. Crow Armstrong? What was he doing? Looking at the clouds, counting clouds. Oh, that's a pretty cloud. Look at that. All right, 3 outs. Let's go. Let's go in. 3 outs. Let's go in. And all of a sudden, freaking Wynn scores from second base on a fly ball.
Young player laps. That's all I can say. Woo! Craig Counsell really had nothing to say after the game.
He just said it was a mistake.
He just said for 5 seconds like he normally does. So that was really fun to listen to.
Yeah, he's like, it was just a mistake.
It was just a mistake. I'll say what one of your best buddies, Aaron Rodgers, said when the Packers were struggling a little bit. Relax, Sparky.
Agreed. I was trying to tell you that with the Brewers, and you didn't want to hear it. You were trying to sound the alarm on me.
I'm just saying that the Cubs can survive these longer periods of down play because of the money that they have in that franchise. Now, they don't spend like that, but the Brewers make more rash decisions when they are struggling. Teams that don't have that much money behind them make those rash decisions when they're struggling. Tampa Bay Rays do it all the time. That's where Matt Arnold is from. Yep. I mean, those are the things that you have to think about. The Cubs aren't going to make those same kind of decisions at the same points.
That's correct. They just make stupid decisions on a day-to-day basis, and then they have to cover up with it later, right? Now, again, that does not mean that the Cubs may not be good at some point in our lifetime and may do have some success at some point.
Better than the Brewers in my lifetime.
Well, yeah, they've won a World Series. Brewers haven't even the Brewers got to World Series in '82, but I don't remember.
I wasn't alive.
I was 6. I don't remember it. The Just a Bit Outside documentary is amazing. I learned a lot watching that. You and I went and watched that together at the theater. So that was really good. Will I see them get to a World Series in my lifetime? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you if I'll get to see it or not. But what I will say is this. They provide big fun every summer for everybody. That summer entertainment, what did he call it?
A summer of fun and excitement.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That's what Adasio called it. They're doing it. Misiorowski is definitely doing it at this point. The Miz T-shirts. Does he steal the theme music from the wrestler?
I feel like you kind of have to. And I feel like if you're the Miz, you got to let him.
Don't you have to have him here at some point?
You have to. He's got to come out, throw a first pitch, meet Miz. Yeah.
On the day Miz pitches, doesn't he throw out a first pitch or something?
And from everything I've seen from the Miz, he seems like he'd be down for that. He goes on sports podcasts all the time, having fun.
Austin Herdania, the sportsbook manager, the Potawatomi Sportsbook, right? They're going to have SummerSlam at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And he's like, I'd love to have a wrestler or something down here. That's perfect. Bring in the Miz on that same weekend. Throw out the first pitch of the Brewers game. I don't know if they're home, though. We'd have to look. But have him be here, throw out the first pitch, hang out with people or whatever the case may be at some point promoting the SummerSlam event coming up. So not obviously when SummerSlam is going on, but help to promote the event. I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
You know what I'm thinking?
Okay.
Seth Rollins has been, like, this whole entire offseason for the Bears, like the biggest Bears fan. He goes on all these ESPN shows talking about being a Bears fan.
Yep.
Find the next week in the Cubs-Brewers play. Have Seth Rollins be there for the Cubs. The Miz be there for the Brewers.
Oh.
Set it up for SummerSlam that way. Find out.
Yeah.
I think that could work.
I like that. Yeah, that is good. And if that happens, then we're going to have Mitch Thunder Nellis foaming at the mouth. I got to have both these guys on our show.
Back at the game.
Mason's going to be like, who are these guys? I don't even know who they are. You do the interview. I'll just sit over here and you have your fun and you talk about the wrestling and the wrestlers and all that stuff. I get your thoughts on the Brewers win today. As yet again, Misiorowski goes 5 scoreless. Nicolay Law Fan Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter, The Fan Milwaukee. And don't forget, Wade versus Diener is back for year 3. Join NBA stars Dwayne Wade and Travis Diener on June 27th for the Champions for Literacy celebration as they make an impact in Milwaukee and at Marquette. Tickets on sale at wadeversusdiener.givesmart.com. That's wadeversusdiener.givesmart.com. Coming up next, our green and gold update. Pro Football Focus has lost their minds. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.